A notice to the public, if you wish to address the council, please complete the public wishing to address the council form located at either ends of the counter and give it to the council clerk prior to the beginning of the meeting, which will begin in about a half a minute. Individuals addressing the council should be respectful of others in their choice of words and actions. All cell phones, pagers, and electronic devices used for communication should be silenced for the duration of the meeting. All right, I'd like to call the meeting of the Terrebonne Parish Council Wednesday, February 23rd to order. And Mr. Amity, could you lead us in a prayer followed by a pledge?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening, Lord. We thank you that we're able to come together, Lord, and attend to the business of the parish. We ask your Holy Spirit for wisdom and guidance as we deal with these affairs, Lord. And Lord, we pray over the people of Terrebonne Parish that your favor and blessings will be upon them all the days of their life. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Babin. Mr. Guidry. Mr. Trosclair. Mr. Navy. Mr. Harding.
Here.
Mr. Michel. Here. Mr. Amade.
Here.
Mrs. Domain.
Here.
Mr. Daring Guidry.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum present.
Thank you very much. Approved minutes of the regular council session held on January 26, 2022.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Amity, seconded by Mr. Harding. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Distribute minutes of the regular council session held on February 9th, 2022, which we've done. Approve accounts payable bill list for February 14th, 2022 and February 21st, 2022.
Move.
Moved by Ms. Domain. Seconded by Mr. Amity. We have our light, Mr. Michel.
And I could be easily mistaken, but were we supposed to get an email with a listing of the accounts payable? I thought they were changing that. So am I thinking of something else?
Ms. Malden?
The email is going to Keith, so if you want the printout, we usually print it out for you. We're just sending the email to Keith, so if you want to see it, he'll have access to it for you.
He's going to get it by email?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
But I imagine, Mr. Michel, if you wanted a copy, Mr. Keith could just forward it to you. I don't think that would be a big issue. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item 1, general business, discussion relative to energy services with regards to repairs, installations, and other issues post-Hurricane Ida. We have Ms. Stacy Fontenot with Entergy here.
Good evening. My name is Stacy Fontenot, address 206 Margie Street, Thibodaux, Louisiana. I'm a brand new customer service manager in the Libertyville network. Today was Mary Faye's retirement party, and my colleague, the customer service manager, and our vice president of customer service is on the way. They are stuck in traffic. So I do have a copy of Al's presentation that he emailed me. So if it's okay, I'll go ahead and begin with a copy on my phone. Please stop me at any time if you have any questions. Entergy would like to thank you for inviting us back to provide an update on the streetlight restoration response in Terrebonne Parish. Since our last visit 2 weeks ago, we wanted to provide an update on the restoration process and answer questions that you had through Mr. Mike Toops. Entergy has hired 2 contract companies who have begun to mobilize their crews and obtain the materials to start doing the repair. Part of the mobilization was to begin assigning the crews to the specific areas across our service territory impacted by the storm, essentially from Grand Isle up to the Bayou region, Lafourche, and Terrebonne. The total number of Entergy employees, linemen, and subcontractors working on this restoration, repairing, replacing burnt street lights throughout the parish, installing electricity to go SEP travel trailers and FEMA trailers, and resetting leaning poles and reactivating electricity to the light bulbs throughout the parish. Our Terrebonne Network office, located in Houma, has 17 Entergy employees, which includes line supervisors, operations coordinator, linemen, mechanics, helpers, storekeepers, and service operators that work on the electric service distribution network operations for Terrebonne Parish. In addition, Energy uses a third-party contractor company for work in the Terrebonne network, which includes reliability enhancement projects, such as reconducting, new pole and service installation. The number of contract workers that are used for these jobs are dependent on the complexity of the job and estimates provided by our engineering design team on labor needed to complete the project. For example, the workers can vary from 1 2-man crew to as many as a 5 to 6-man crew. They have 6 5-man overhead crews and 3 3-man underground crews. Lighting repairs and installation in the network during normal operations is assigned to 1 streetlight mechanic per network. If you remember from previous discussion, during normal operations, we operate at a 90% burn rate for streetlights, allowing for 10% that would need repairs as part of our streetlight rate. For the streetlight repair effort we are currently undertaking for Hurricane Ida response, we have been receiving additional contractors from our normal base load from other areas to help with the higher priority. In addition, we have signed 2 additional contractors to bring contract workers for the entire impacted area, specifically for streetlight repairs. Part of our plan for the restoration for streetlights in Terrebonne Parish and in all areas is to provide weekly updates to the council. We actually received our first update today from the operations coordinator in regards to where the new crews that they just hired under contracts are being distributed, and I know it's further down in Al's statement, so I'll let you know that as well. The assessment that was conducted by our third-party contractor company in mid-November was completed in December of 2021, right before the holidays. Terrebonne Parish had 8,386 lights billed, 8,334 lights assessed. In Houma, they had 4,533 lights, Chauvin 1,466, Schriever 612, Berg 670, Montague 1,033 lights. Al is currently reviewing the cost comparison between LED and non-LED. Cost comparison between energy-owned non-LED lights versus energy-owned LED lights. The difference is the number of kilowatts for non-LED light versus LED lights. For example, a 100-watt non-LED fixture has 50 kilowatts at 93 cents a month, and a 100-watt LED uses 16 kilowatts a month, and it's 30 cents per month. Crews will be assigned to start repairs over the next 10 days. Per our email that we received today from the operations coordinator, 3 trucks to start in Montague at the lowest boundary working north, 2 trucks to start in Schriever working south toward Houma. Repairs that have been made in Terrebonne. Areas that our teams have worked on, 90-plus lights have been repaired so far on the parade route in Houma. Several lights are out due to transformers and secondary on several. Our linemen are currently working on fixing the transformers. Grand Caillou Road from Woodlawn Ranch Road to Main Street, repaired on one side of the road. The other side of the road is for the city of Houma. He is currently following up with Flo Dumas, who is our streetlight coordinator, on the status of those repairs. 40% of the Southern Estates subdivision has burnt streetlights and will be addressed as part of the extended crews that are now on their way. 50-plus poles are leaning or have burnt bulbs in Ordone Estates and Schriever. This will also be covered by the additional crews that have been brought on. And Kevin Ballinger has an RV park located at 1129 Highway 55 in Montague. The parks will have 12 spots for trailers to park and rent. I do not see any notes on that, but Al just sent me a message. They're on their way up, so we can ask him to address that when he gets here. Installing electricity to the GoSep travel trailers and FEMA trailers. I did speak to my colleague, another customer service manager. They have daily calls with FEMA and GoSep to check the status and any issues that may be arising. We are checking on the average work orders for Terrebonne Parish And I do know that the permit time right now is probably 3 days, based on my conversation with the customer service manager on previous in this area. So it's 3 days, and we're working to see how can we expedite that from the time Energy receives a permit to the time they actually get out to do the install. And that's all that I have in Al's notes. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Does anybody have any questions of Ms. Stacy before Al gets up? Hold on, Mr. Navy. Go ahead.
I guess my question is, I'm listening to the list that you made. On the east side, there's several areas that lights are out, and they're Entergy lights. But this is the interesting stuff about that. We have lights out. I know we're dealing with Entergy tonight or whatever, but we have lights out for the city of Houma too. And the confusing part that a lot of people don't understand also, we have streets where we actually have, this is crazy public, we have streets in Terrebonne Parish where one side of the street is Energy and the other side is City of Houma. So do we have I know we talked about this last time, we got that situated where we actually know that what I would like, I'm gonna give you a minute, hold on. What I would like is a map given to me to outline, after we talked about this last council meeting, on down these streets with all these multiple utilities companies, who's where, who knows what lights are. I know we talked about that, but it's still confusing because when you have a system where you have street lights on one side on that's crazy. But anyway, I just would like something that I can know who we're referring to when these lights are out. Now, I know we're dealing with Energy. We know we have a lot of lights out. City of Houma still have some. Sleeper still have some. I mean, we need to get the handle on this with all these companies so we can know where they're at and address this matter. I mean, hey, we know Energy because you're the largest one, but you still have communities that out. And let me tell you something what I didn't like, and I'm going to say this publicly. We concentrated on, and I understand for safety purposes, we concentrated to make sure that we had street lights for the parades, and we did that. But the parade's going to end when? Next week? These communities going to still be out with lights. And I don't understand how that became. It's safety for the whole parish is a priority, but it's the same thing as a priority for, if you're going to be equitable, it's a priority for the whole parish. So some things that I listened to last week didn't dwell with me right. But I said, okay, I'm going to buy into the fact that we need to get these lights up for the parades, the routes, for safety issues. But the parade's about to go next week. And people still out with lights. So I need a map. I need something tangible for me to handle. Now, I don't care what everybody else wants, because at the end of the day, I got to think about the safety of the people that I represent also. So I just need something where someone can bring something to us, a map to outline everything. And I need that ASCP if that makes any sense. Okay?
Can I answer, Mr. Nate?
Yes, sure, no problem.
Go ahead, Mr. Tubes.
We actually do have that map. We have it both for electricity and for natural gas. I did get it from Mr. Ernie Brown, which just sent it to me about 2 weeks ago, Ernie. But it's so detailed that I had to get it plotted in a 2-foot by 3-foot map to where I could actually read it. So if the council would like, I could get 9 copies made, 2-foot by 3-foot, of both the electricity and the natural gas distribution, and have it in your offices as soon as tomorrow.
Okay, and would that map tell us that, on that map, would it say down the streets, if I could go to the street, let's just pick the street, East Street. Can I see that light pole at that address going to be Entergy or City of Houma? It's going to tell me that?
It's not in that much detail. I mean, it's a lot of information. Maybe Ernie can come and answer that.
Yeah,
specifically.
And that's the thing that the public is confused about, because when they call, and Ernie knows this, call Ernie will say, oh, well, John, that's Energy. I got to contact Energy on that. But then the public is saying, well, that's not Energy. We got City of Houma. Everybody's confused out there by this, because we never really been to the dynamics of this kind of storm. But that's confusing to the public, and that's why I said disseminating information out is very important to educate the public about this, and we did a piss poor job with that. So I'm just simply saying, man, how we simplify this process?
Well, we have the GIS map is published on the internet. All the public is available to look for. You just have to pick the layers. I believe the TPCG street lights are color coded as blue, and Energy is identified as red, and I believe Sleeka is identified as orange or yellow. So if you do, get on the internet, we can walk you through it, or we can provide the maps. But they are color coded and identified on those streets whose service territory
Okay,
they are.
if we get on you're saying the council, right?
Yes.
Okay, what about the public? That's what I'm asking.
They have
access to
yes,
it too, so
it
anybody
is
can get on the
public.
map from the public.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we need to make sure that's getting out to the public so they can know that stuff. Okay, that's all I'm saying is from our perspective, because they don't know, and that's how we getting burnt up here, not knowing. I don't know unless I get on the map. And if you don't have access to a computer or technology to do that, then how you understand that? I'm done.
Mr. Harding?
Yes, good evening. And I know you read the report and they were stuck in traffic. And I only have a couple of questions. And you mentioned Aldon. I think it was 40 lights or 40% of the lights that were there. The last council meeting that you were here, Southern Estates was also mentioned. So you didn't give a report on the Southern Estates progress that we actually had. And might as well ask the second question also. As always, I'm actually trying to look at how to rewrite what we need to do after a hurricane and how we can handle things much better. And communication has always been the thing. So, I have to ask a point-blank question. I know you've been constantly bombarded by a number of questions that's coming toward you guys. But then, is there anything that you would find as Energy that Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government can help out in the process of doing this? Because you mentioned Go Self trailers, and we also mentioned the FEMA trailers. So there are some such circumstances when you go there and you have a trailer there, there could be something that's there, you cannot put a meter there, okay? So, and we have to be mindful from the time the decision is made to put a trailer that's there, we got to understand what we're going to have, the cot first or the horse being first. So work with, I'm not only asking in the system, if there is a problem, just come forward with the problem, and then we as an administration and the council can work those things out so we won't have that problem in the future. So it'll help us out in our manual and how we handle things.
Sure, I'd like to defer. This is our Vice President of Customer Service.
Mm-hmm.
This is Yvonka Daniel, and then we also have our Regional Manager, Al Galindo, as well. And I think they'll be able to provide some more insight for you.
Hello, it's good to see you guys again, and I apologize for a delay.
If you don't mind
traffic was-
reintroducing yourself so we can get in the mic.
Yvonka Daniel, Entergy Vice President of Customer Service for Louisiana. So to answer your question, absolutely. We have found through this storm, there's a lot of lessons learned through this process. Lack of communications being lost is absolutely one of the things. Making sure that all those entities know what we need, what they need, so that we all align when we need to execute this. So that is definitely something that we're working through. My peer up there in Baton Rouge, making sure that he's talking to GoSub, we're talking to FEMA, and just making sure that we are better aligned. And the alignment was something that we just, there was definitely opportunity.
Okay. And if you don't mind, yes, you have a report on the Southern Estates and the conditions of the Southern Estates. It's, it was conversation and
Sure.
just bringing it up.
Al Galindo, Regional Manager for Entergy Louisiana for this region. Yep, one of the items that I had was providing information on the areas that our contracting crews are going to start to deploy. We have contractor crews that are coming in this week to start working repairs. And the way they're going to do the repairs is they're going to work from Schriever south towards Homa, and then from Montague, starting at the lowest boundary of the parish, working north. And so that Southern Estates subdivision, I believe, is in the Shriever area. And so I have
Coming
already.
back this way to Houma. Yes,
Part-
it is.
Yes, and I already have asked our crews to make sure that that is a location in the subdivision that they dedicate crews to getting those repaired. So we should start to see repairs for those locations probably in the next 3 to 4 days, 5 days. The crews that we're bringing on with the additional contractors that we've hired are going to be really flooding the area over the next 10 days. And so one of the things that we were going to do is provide the parish with some details of where they're working so that we can share it with the parish president's office and the council so that as these crews come in, you'll know exactly where they're going to be working.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Domingue?
Thank you, and I appreciate you guys being here again.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I know you guys have been really busy this last 6 months. So what I'm appreciating you're saying is that you guys are going to start on each end of the parish and then work your way to the middle. Okay,
Correct.
so I'm in the middle. So can I assume that my district or the area that I represent will be done last?
No,
Okay.
no. What we're doing is we're using the additional crews that are coming in from the south and the north, but we also have our normal baseload contractors that have actually been working in the city. I know the parade route was a concern, and I know we went and repaired about 90 lights. I know there's a couple of lights that are still in the parade route that need to be repaired, but we were informed that those lights were repaired. I know I spoke to Mr. Ernest earlier today about some other areas on Grand Calou that were also, I hope I pronounced that right, apologize.
Caillou.
Caillou, sorry. And those were repaired, and my understanding is that those lights were supposed to be switched over to LED, but because we wanted to make sure that the lights were up sooner than trying to get LEDs in, we went ahead and put in the previous lights, the high-pressure sodium lights, with the plan to replace those with LEDs.
So as far as the parade route, there was a lot of temp lights brought in. So they were these big things on wheels, and so they were kind of brought in. And so it seems like that's not a permanent solution. That was just a temporary solution.
Was that something that Entergy brought in?
No, that was ours.
Okay. All right. Okay. So so then that clarifies that. So those areas would still need to be repaired as well, because I didn't hear West Side Boulevard, St. Louis Canal, Jennings Lane, Park Avenue, or State Drive on your list. And I had sent an email after you guys had come last week to the gentleman, and so I know he has it on his list. I was just hoping that the way you guys were working, it wasn't going to be maybe last on the list.
No,
Okay.
I went ahead and sent that list to our
Okay.
project manager. So any high priority listing of streetlights that needed to be repaired that the council provided to us, I went ahead and made sure that those specific streets were being addressed. And I guess part of what I want to try to do is make sure that the follow-up with
Okay.
our crews to make sure that those locations are being taken care of based on the information that you're asking for. So I will follow back up with you on that. But I have passed that information along, and I think as these crews come in, they will start to do the repairs.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Michel?
Thank y'all for being here again. It's a pleasure to meet you, Ms. Daniel. And you know, it's not a disagreement, but the fact that we flooded to do the parade route lights, I can understand where that seems like we're putting somebody else, somebody ahead of the residents. But the fact is, when the parades are over, those lights are still going to be lit, and that's still progress. And the thing that I am most adamant about seeing is that by the end of June, we're going to be back pretty much to that 90% level.
We're hoping that it's before the end of June.
But that's what y'all had mentioned, by the end of the second quarter.
By the
yes.
second quarter, yes.
And so that's, I can calm people down until then. There's no question. And, because there's no way to prioritize everyone. Some people are going to get it before other people get it, and that's just a fact of life. But the fact that y'all are working on it, the fact that y'all have new contractors in place, and the fact that y'all have said that we expect to be back up to a normal range by the end of June is real pleasing to me. So I do appreciate it, and I would like the opportunity to speak to y'all in private before you leave about a matter that's not public.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I, of course, haven't given any of the addresses or streets in my district because you had mentioned that you know where the lights are and
Right.
that you're going to go through and check all of them. So I'm relying on that because your pad would be full if I gave you all the streets. So.
Yeah, and I think Stacy covered, did she present the locations of where we did all the assessments?
She did,
by
yes.
the different areas within the parish? Okay.
Mr. Amity.
Wow, me already? Mr. Al, and Ernie might have to weigh in on this too. Southern Estates, I'm gonna use it as an example. They're decorative lights and they're damaged, not just out. So when your crews hit them and they're still damaged, you won't be able to light them, correct?
If the poles are damaged and they can't be, put back up, yeah, that's probably
Okay.
a good.
Because I want to make sure that people understand that the parish has to come through first and fix the poles before those lights can be done. But you will catch, of course, all the other
The ones
lights
that can
that
be
just need
fixed.
the bulb.
But that's a good point to provide that feedback, because I can make sure that information is reinforced.
Okay, and, again, thank you guys for coming. Ms. Daniel, thank you for coming back. We were in our other location last time, so welcome to the actual council chambers. And, hopefully, except for the traffic trouble, hopefully your experience will be a whole lot better coming back to Homa this time. I know we grilled you a little hard the last time, but a lot of emotion was going on. So I thank you guys for what you're doing, Mr. Al, especially the customer service aspect of it. It's good to see a utility step up and respond in a timely manner. So I just wanted to plug that thing about the decorative lights. I don't know why we ever approved those things in the parish, but that's going to be a little bit of an issue for the public. So I just wanted the public to know that, look, if the light is laying down in your front yard, it's not going to get lit until after it's stood back up. So if they see their neighbors get a new bulb, but theirs didn't get fixed, it's not just Energy's problem, it's also Terrebonne Parish's problem. And for the public too, let me tell you, parts are hard to get. I'm in construction, and I can tell you, I ordered a generator, and it's 46 weeks out. So I'm sure that you guys, Waterworks is waiting on some stuff. It's weeks out. So I hope, Gerald, Mr. Michel, that you can hold them off good, because sometimes parts are going to take a long time. And I would imagine that there's probably going to be a few stragglers even after the second quarter. But again, thank you guys for being responsive.
And just for information, I've been working with Ms. Malden, and next week we are the scoring of engineering firms will be done all this in accordance with FEMA, and we should be selecting an engineering firm that can go into these areas with decorative lights, do the assessment, put the bid packages together, so we can get the parts on order. But then, like Mr. Amity said, we may be 48 weeks out before they actually get fixed. Mr. Navy.
Oh, Jules, you want me to go first?
Okay, Mr. Hebert?
Yes, I'd like to, first, I talked to Ernest, two things that you'd asked me about. To make that intranet and that GIS system, unless you use that system quite frequently, it's not that easy to use until you understand it. And I think that's the problem, one of the issues.
Right. It's my issue.
So I asked Ernest just now if it could be revamped to put on tabs by itself and move the tabs by the provider. So Energy in its blue would be one tab, City of Home would be another tab, Sleek would be another tab, with their color codes. And you'd have to press it one time and it would populate and show you everything. That way you don't have to go, because that system is built on layers. If anybody's ever tried to use it, you got to push on dots. You really got to know what you're doing to maneuver around that system. This would remove it from that, put it on its own tabs by itself. It would have each company with the lights, who has the lights. You'd have to press it one time, keep it simple, and it would open up to all the streets and all the lights for each provider.
Okay,
And Ernest said that can be done.
that's something that could be done that can help us.
That would be
Okay,
done, and
so-
that will help everybody.
But how do,
Now, the next thing, go ahead.
yeah, the next thing is then how we disseminate that information out to the public. Do they actually contact someone and say, I got a street light, this address here, who that light belong? Because they don't have, most of our public don't have that kind of tech savvy to understand the difficulty of getting on that site and doing that. That's why I'm saying, how do we make it, how we simplify this process for the public?
All right, that presumes some questions first. Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question now?
Sure.
Okay. Al.
Just into the microphone.
Al, you had sent us the tariffs, and you sent the tariffs with the conditions, and I went through it fast, and I remember in another situation, the older tariff that I looked at involving a situation that I brought last time down Chauvin. But my question to you is, based on y'all interpretation of the tariff with the Public Service Commission, as it regards Entergy, who has the responsibility of reporting? The ultimate question is, I think, is what everybody wants to know. Whose responsibility is it legally, in your opinion, to report a light out? That's the first question.
Oh, hold on. Go ahead.
Okay. The customer who has the light, if it's a street light or a private area light for a customer that has one at their home, we don't really know that that light is out unless they report it. Now, we do have, and I know I'm not sure how often it's done. We do night patrols to kind of view that, but.
My question was, I am interrupting you, because I want to get to the issue easy. Legally, by the PSC, whose obligation it is to locate burnt streetlights? Is it Entergy's, or is it the parish, or is it the customer? Legally, not what somebody should do. I understand it. You can explain it after that. But whose primary responsibility is to look for burnt streetlights legally? Is it Entergy's or the customer?
I don't have an answer to that. I have to really look into the tariff to make sure.
Would you report that back to us?
Sure.
And report that specific section in the tariff where that responsibility is?
Sure.
And I think I know the answer, but I want to hear what Energy is going to say.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't
now,
want
the next thing is to assist, because I think what Councilman Navy is saying is they get the calls about the lights, and if they could short circuit it to help and get an assistance to where people can go to report this. They just don't, you get thousands of people out there, and people ask questions all the time. I mean, people ask questions about cemeteries. They just don't know. So what is the easiest mechanism to disseminate information to report a light out to Energy?
There's really two. We do have a website where you can actually report a street light or a security light out, and I think we can provide the link to those two sites. One of the aspects for street lights is really to have a 911 address or an address of where that as close as possible to where that street light is located. And then obviously you can call the 1-800 Entergy number also to report a night light out or a street light out. Those are the two
Do you have to be the resident at that address, or can
No.
somebody from a different address report
Yeah,
that
it could be
address?
anybody it could be anybody, as long as they indicate the specific street address for where that light is located as close as possible. That is what we ask for.
So if they don't have Entergy number, could they actually contact Mr. Brown? He has the technology at his
Certainly.
office too, and Mr. Brown can actually tell that resident also, or his office can. Could that be done also? Could that be another
way of communicating?
Easier way for the public to get that information?
Sure.
Well, hold on. Well, Mr. Navy, I thought that's what we were doing. I thought when we went online and
No, we're not
reported a
doing that.
light, if it was in Entergy's area, Mr. Brown, could you, if we report a light on our website and it's in the Energy service area, do you report that to Entergy?
We send that to Flo Dumas. If anybody calls our office, we also report that to.
That's not what I'm asking.
I'm sorry.
That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking is I'm saying, can the public do that? The public need to know that they can actually contact you and say that, hey, I got a street light at this address out. Who this pole belong to? Can you help me and contact that person?
We do that all the
Okay.
time. Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about needs to be done. That's what the public need to know. We right now saying what we're assuming what they could do and what we have on paper, but that's not disseminated out to the public. You can put everything on the website if you want. Who's gonna go to the website? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Not everybody's gonna go to the website. Everybody don't go to Facebook, you know. So we got to know how to get this information out to the public because they can know. Because at the end of the day, they're gonna keep calling us, and then we gonna ring around in a circle all day long. So I just want to make sure if I get them to one person, he's going to get that person information that they need so they could take care of whatever street light is out. That's all I'm asking. Simple, a simplified process. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Navy. Mr. Michel.
Okay, I just want to clarify. Southern Estates, where'd Mr. Ernest go? Can we send someone out there to make sure those poles are up and ready for them to show up before they get there? If we could do that, I mean, to me, that would just save time. Otherwise, they're going to get there, then they're going to have to report it, and they're going to have to go back. If it's any way to do that, and I don't know the logistics, but if there's any way to do that, that would be lovely.
We can coordinate that, Ernest.
Okay, and secondly, the people in my district, for the 60% of them have been using the website. They've been reporting it. And the website is as good as somebody's ability to describe where the light is located, okay? And I've used it many times. People call me, I just go straight to the website. Unless there's a problem, I go straight to the website. And before Ida, it was taken care of within 3 or 4 days, okay? So I mean, I've been pleased with the resources y'all had from my standpoint. Now, my district is small. Somebody calls me, I don't just report it. I want to go see it and make sure it's out myself and be able to identify exactly where it's located, because I can do that very specifically, and I don't know that y'all have ever had a problem when I've done something like that. No. But the people who go to the website, the people in my district go, and then the ones who don't go, call me. And we haven't had any problem with that process at all. But I do know that some of them go and report it on the parish website, and hopefully that'll get to them. And then if we report it to you, and then there's a problem that's not your responsibility, then y'all contact the parish utility company. Right. I just really have never been displeased with the process that y'all have gone through. So, thank y'all for that. And just on a side note, you made a comment about her having a retirement party. I heard she had more than one retirement party, all right? Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Michel. Mr. Dirk Guidry.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Ms. Fontenot and Ms. Daniels and Mr. Al for coming back. I sure appreciate it. Look, I appreciate what y'all know. I've been hard on you guys. I appreciate what y'all doing. But for me to get hard on y'all come back, and y'all come back again, because y'all know I'm speaking, But listen, I sure appreciate what y'all doing with the street lights. I know down these buyers, we really need them. But, one of the things that we really need most is getting these campers hooked up, because, I mean, we talking about a street light versus somebody having a place to sleep. So, if y'all could expedite a lot of these, because this afternoon, and it was a fellow that came from Steve's district, lives way down at the end of Madison Canal, called me. He's been waiting 2 weeks right now to get hooked up to a FEMA camper, So they hooked up the electricity, they hooked up the water, and they're still waiting for the electric box to get put there. So it's people like that, that my heart goes out to. But look, get it done as fast as y'all can, because it's a mess out there. And I know it was a tragic hurricane, and I know I might have been a jerk on all this stuff, but this is my people we're talking about, This is the people that I love. I love Terrebonne Parish, but I love these bayou people. They're hardworking people, and sometimes they can't come in and speak for themselves. But please help them out, we are at your mercy, There's nothing that we can do different, because you guys are the only show in town where we come from, So thank y'all a lot, and tell Miss Mary Fee, have a good retirement. I'm sure she's glad that she ain't got to come see me again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guidry. And Mr. Toops, did you have some information to add?
Yeah, I'd like to take my parish manager hat on and put my energy customer hat on. And Al, I hate to burst your bubble, but your website doesn't work. Councilman Darren Guidry was in my office 2 weeks ago, and we were trying to access your website. And I put my home address in, and I got incorrect information. So I put my neighbor's address. I put what we did, 4, 5, 6, and we kept getting the same error message, Al.
Okay.
So obviously, there are some glitches in your website.
And there is no method to do like we have on the parish website where you can actually put a description instead of an address. You know, if there was any way that, you know, you could, if you didn't have the 911 address, say the light is at the corner of 1st and 2nd,
Right.
you know, that would help in situations, you know,
I'll
to where we
follow
don't
up
know
with you,
exactly
Mike,
how to describe where
on
the
that.
light is.
I'll follow up with you directly to find out.
Right. And again, thank you all, you know, for coming. I think this, it says a lot about your company that, you know, you're willing to come to us, provide this information, listen to tough questions and deal with tough situations, because the storm has put us all in tough situations, and we appreciate you
Well,
coming.
thank you for having us, and we'll come back again at your request to provide.
And
any
it helps us
additional-
share the information with our constituents.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Seeing no more lights, moving along. Mr. Babin,
That's agenda item.
what is that?
I'm putting my light on.
Oh,
for the
I'm
next
sorry.
Agenda item.
Preliminary discussion and possible action relative to the creation of a Blue Ribbon Commission whose goal and mission will be to provide input on where and how Hurricane Ida relief funding should be spent. Mr. Babin.
Yes, the first words you said tonight was, when you're reading this, preliminary. And that's why I brought it up last time. And I'd like for you to be listening, Mr. Guidry, because I put a second agenda item on here tonight to make sure you don't put my light off again, okay? And I purposely had no backup in that information because I did use the word preliminary. It was said here and on television that this may be 2 or 3 years before we get money. I understand the system. The only 2 people on here that have more years of experience up here than me are John Navy and Dirk Guidry. So I've got 6 years just like you do, Steve does, and a few others. Some only have 2. But don't assume or presume you know what I'm talking about when I put something on the agenda, especially with no backup. I want to get, Mr. Navy uses this word a lot, and I believe it, inclusion. I want inclusion from the general public on this money. The general public's not going to come here, okay? And I'm not trying to create another committee of the council. That's not what this is about. This is no different than the Recreation Modernization Committee. It was outside groups that were giving input that the council eventually had to vote on. And that's what happened. This system is no different. All I'm saying is that if it's 2 or 3 years, 75% of us up here won't be up here again. Okay? So why would we not want to at least get some input from the community? And as I mentioned it last time, this is preliminary, but it's people I think would be very interested. And I just have a few of them listed. Chamber of Commerce, TITA, SCIA, NAACP, faith-based groups, mental health professionals, the general public, and that's just a few. I'm not trying to have this group sit out there with council people on it, telling them what we want for each of our districts. Naturally, somebody from administration, if we would ever go forward with this, would have to be on it because they would be able to tell them if it's CDBG money and where it could be used. I just happen to believe between American Recovery, stimulus money, infrastructure money, and Hurricane Ida money, that there will be some discretionary funds. They're not all going to be earmarked for certain things. So this was nothing more than to let the public know that over the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to be receiving a lot of money in this parish, okay? And we want to make sure that if it's one-time money, we spend it properly. We all have a good idea. We can have town halls in our area to do the same thing. But in the past, and I use blue ribbon committee. That's just a colloquial expression. It could be anything. Concerned citizen committee, just to give recommendations. So it got way out of hand last time, and that's why I put another agenda item on there, and I'm going to address that then. But you know, like I said, this is one-time money. But why would we not want to involve the community in something this major? This was a major hurricane. A lot of things are going on in Congress where they're sending money down here. And all I'm asking is for people who are really involved with it to sit down maybe 3 or 4 times and come up with some ideas to bring to us. And that's all I have to say on this, but I do have another agenda item.
All right, and our next item is, we have a motion to go into public hearing.
Second.
By Mr. Dirk Gidry, seconded by, who seconded it? Mr. Danny Babin. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? We're moving on to 6:30 public hearing. Item A, an ordinance to amend the 2022 adopted operating budget and 5-year capital outlay budget of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government for the following items and to provide for related matters. The Houma Fire Department grant, $5,000. Montague Fire Department number 6 grant, $5,000. Animal shelter donation, $1,500. Sanitation, $22,000. Animal shelter donation, $20,000. General Fund Office of Emergency Preparedness, 2021 Cities Readiness Initiative, $23,839. Road Lighting District 4, $10,000. And General Fund Office of Emergency Preparedness, $42,000. Public once, public twice, third time public. Motion to close by Mr. Gidry, seconded by Mr. Carl Harding. All in favor say aye. Motion to adopt, Mr. Gidry, seconded by Mr. Harding. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Ordinance passes. Item B, an ordinance authorizing and providing for the issuance, sale, and delivery of a $50 million tax hurricane recovery revenue bond, Series 2022. Public once, public twice, third time public. Do you want to discuss under public, or?
I'll give him a wait.
A motion to close by Mr. Dirk Gidry, seconded by Mr. Carl Harding. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ms. Domingue?
Yes, I just have one quick question for Ms. Candace. I know we held this over because there was some issues with the bond rates. Are you satisfied with where it is and where we are going with this?
Yes, it's probably a better deal than what we had intended or had hoped to even get when we first went out for it. So it's set up whereas we get the FEMA reimbursements, we'll pay them back. Hopefully we'll get FEMA reimbursements quicker than we have in the past, so we'll be able to pay this off a lot quicker than what we planned. So it's an excellent deal for us.
All right, I appreciate it.
Motion to adopt, Mr. Dirk Gidry. Do we have a second on the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Amity. Go ahead, Mr. Navy.
The 50, do we have okay, I just want to know something. You said money that we already have spent, right?
Yes, sir. So the $50 million is money that we have spent emergency response for Hurricane Ida. So this is going to help us with the cash flow part of it until we get reimbursed from FEMA.
From FEMA. So in the backup, I was trying to look at that. Do we have like a list of all what we spent money on?
There is not anything in the backup. I can provide you with a total of what we have spent for hurricane expenditures. I'm going to tell you it's close to the $50 million.
Yeah, that's what I was curious about. That's why I wanted to know that.
Yeah, so it's when we started the process of going out to issue the bonds, we kind of estimated where we were at with the debris removal and everything else, and kind of calculated what we thought it would be, and it's going to be pretty close to the $50 million.
Okay. Yeah, I would like that, names and stuff like that.
Thank you, Mr. Navy. We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ordinance passes. Item C, an ordinance to authorize the parish president to execute a right of use agreement between Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government and Tiffany Lynn Bodwin for the property that bears a municipal address of 300 Hidalgo Drive, Houma, Louisiana, 70363. Public once, public twice, third time public. Motion to close, Mr. Amity, seconded by Ms. Domingue. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion to adopt, Mr. Amity, seconded by Mr. Dirk Gidry. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Ordinance is adopted. Item D is an ordinance that has been requested to be pulled by administration. It is an ordinance to restructure Chapter 21, Article 5 of the Terrebonne Parish Code of Recreation District by enacting Section 21-49 to authorize the use of low-speed vehicles on Bayou Country Parkway. Do we have any public? Once? Twice? Third time public? Do we have a motion to close public? Motion to close, Mr. Amity.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Doming. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? And no action is necessary. Same thing with item E, which is an ordinance to authorize the parish president to execute an intergovernmental agreement on behalf of the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government between TPCG and the Terrebonne Economic Development Authority, TEDA, to continue the lease space to TEDA in the government tower and to continue joint efforts to promote industrial and economic development in the parish of Terrebonne, Louisiana. Public once, public twice, third time public. Motion to close, Mr. Dirk Gidry, seconded by Mr. John Navy. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? No action is necessary. Motion to go back in regular order, Mr. Dirk Gidry, seconded by Mr. Amity. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? We're on general business C, discussion of council members discussing agenda items on local media outlets. Mr. Babin.
Yes, I put this on here, and again, everything that I'm speaking about was on HTV, all right? Going back to the agenda item that we just had with no backup, y'all spoke over 9 minutes on an item that had no backup, and you had no idea what it was about, so you assumed or presumed that you know what I was talking about on it. Well, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to give some quotes from the thing. Ms. Domingue said she wanted a committee for quality of life, but Darren backed her, but this other...
Point of order.
No, it's not a point of order. You went on that.
Mr. Babin, the point of this is not to debate something that happened at a media outlet. If you want to do that, you're welcome to go on a media outlet and do that.
No, Mr.
If you would like to discuss this particular item.
I think you're wrong because you went on television
Babin,
and said
you're out of order.
No, I'm not out of order. Darren, you're trying to be a dictator, and it's not doing... Quit running for parish president, Darren, okay? Gavel me out, and I'll have it on again in the next meeting, okay? I promise you. Now, you let me finish what I have to say, Darren, and then you can report. Listen, you tried to be Mr. Robert's Rules of Order. The last thing that we had got way out of hand, and you wouldn't let it go. But, you know, do what you need to do, Darren. People are looking at you. Don't worry. Both of y'all, okay? You can't go in there and say things, and then I can't talk about them. Now, are you going to let me proceed, or are you going to gavel me out again? Tell me. I'll take either one.
Mr. Babin, all I said was the proper venue would probably be on HTV if you wanted to address it.
That's your opinion.
I will, Mr. Babin, I will allow it. I am just saying the proper venue would be HTV if you're talking about something that you feel was said on HTV.
Maybe what I would say on there might be cut out, okay? So, again, if you want to gavel me out, go ahead. It'll be two meetings in a row, if that's what you think you is the guru of Robert's Rules of Order. If not, I'm going to finish what I was saying. The difference between the committee I talked about and the one Ms. Domingue talked about on television, she wanted to create a new committee up here as a council. This is not. And at the time it was said we have community development. If we could put a quality of life agenda item every time, we could talk about a quality of life there. So this is entirely different, okay? But the thing that got me in this over 9 minutes of something that did not have backup, again, was twice in there it was said by Ms. Domingue that she's not known that this government ever misappropriated any funds. I never insinuated that. So you don't have the right to go on television when you have no backup and talk about something that you don't know anything about, okay? So, again, I have no problem with y'all going on television and talking about agenda items. Just make sure when you do go in there, you have the right information, and don't assume that you know everything. The other night, Darren, and this one's directed at you, you went on again, and the common courtesy has always been that if somebody calls you from your district, you let them know that the councilman from that district's number and name, okay? Mr. Navy, I'd appreciate if you just listen if you don't mind, okay? The other night, you showed pictures of a trailer in the district that I represent and also one that Mr. Trosclair represents. If it doesn't bother him, it's okay. I got the call on that at 4 o'clock that afternoon, and by the next day, yesterday, it was taken care of, Mr. Guidry, okay? But you said that you got it 2 weeks ago, and you talked to the individual. You did not. You talked to a friend of his, all right? You didn't talk to the individual, and if you would know how to handle and talk to Sleeka, what was wrong was it was the wrong name on the thing. So again, you're jumping, you've been chastised before by other council members for trying to jump into their district, okay? So I appreciate, and again, you might say, because I want the general public to know this, I told Mr. Guidry not to call or text me to send anything to me on my government email from his government email. That way, if somebody wanted to do a public records request, they could, all right? So again, and here's the last thing I'll say. We want to talk 9 minutes about something that you don't know about, but yet talk less than 15 seconds on $50 million that we're bonding out, okay? If you want to disseminate information to the public, then disseminate. They're looking around right now saying $50 million, that's a lot of money. We know where it's going, but they don't. Thank you very much. That's all I have to say.
All right, moving along. Discussions relative to the services of programs provided through TIDA, the Terrebonne Economic Development Authority. Ms. Catherine, did you want to do that?
Yes, thank you. I am Catherine Gilbert-Terrio, Business Retention and Expansion Director for Terrebonne Economic Development. One thing we do a lot of at TIDA is try to work with the business community and provide resources to them every workday, that we're here. And that's anything from trying to assist them with numbers they need for the parish, or talking to council members, or utility issues. We do a lot of that. But we had an opportunity with some of the stimulus and relief money that came from the federal government, that came to the state. It was Economic Development Administration dollars that came to the state. Louisiana Economic Development put forth an RFP for organizations such as ours to submit plans for technical assistance programming in their communities. We did that, and the result, although we asked for a lot more money, we did receive a contract for $40,000 to provide actual technical assistance. It's not grant money. It is dollars that I can sit a small business down with a, say, marketing professional or an attorney or a management specialist, possibly digital or media marketing, and I feel like I'm missing one of them, I'm sorry, financial services. So what we do in the process, we visit with each company that's seeking assistance. We try to determine where they are with their needs and start working on a plan to address them. Then we can allocate 3 hours, maybe 5 hours maximum, with a professional in the community. So we're helping small business A that has a problem and small business B that can help solve the problem. And part of the idea is that the small business also gets some education in the process. Let's take social media. We had a seminar last week on Digital Media 101, how to market your business in social media. We started that as a brainstorming session for companies that came to the session. From there, they can do the planning. I want to promote this and that. And then we can sit them down with a marketing professional to really flesh that out, build a strategy, and learn how to start executing. So that's just an example of how we're using some of the funds. We are launching May 7th with Fletcher to help broaden our market, our small businesses markets in terms of customer service and strictly customers. Many of us do not know Spanish, but we have a larger Hispanic population that has been moving in. It is imperative that these people can receive services. It is imperative that non-English speakers or non-native English speakers feel comfortable in our businesses. It helps those residents. It helps our small businesses. So I worked with Fletcher, and they are going to be presenting an 8-week Spanish for real life for beginners is what they decided to call it. I call it conversational Spanish. I've tried to teach myself several times on my own. I need help. I need a teacher. And so the idea is when someone who's Hispanic walks into a business and they're seeking help, they at least can start a conversation. And so it is a first step in our community becoming a little more bilingual. And we hope it works and grows from that position. It will be an 8-week class. It'll meet from 6 to 8 p.m. on Mondays and Wednesdays at Fletcher for small businesses to take advantage of any of the technical assistance services, including the Spanish class for 1, maybe 2 representatives. They contact TITA. We have a short application, which is really some basic information about the company, how they were impacted by COVID, and what strategies or how they want to help recover from this pandemic that we are still in. Because these were Economic Development Administration dollars that were COVID stimulus, COVID recovery dollars. We have a handful of people who we're working on active contracts or trying to execute contracts for. And we're looking forward. It's not $40,000 is not a lot of money, but it will help, my estimation, about 49 service units, which is small businesses and then folks in the Spanish class. So I'm hoping that people see this and will contact us at 985-873-6890. This is our little commercial for TITA and the Small Business Services. We help with a lot of things. And, I appreciate Mr. Navy reminded me to come on and help promote the program. We're doing, this program is good for the next several months of the year, and we hope to be able to expend all of the dollars. Thank you.
We do have some lights, Mr. Navy.
Yes, and listen, I think Tina's definitely doing an outstanding job with this process and educating the public. And, educating the public on a conclusive process that, they were actually, the Hispanic community was definitely part of the rebuilding process and still part of the rebuilding process with this parish. And sometimes I look at it where, the utilization of them here, we have been without, we was decimated with so much catastrophic damage to this parish that we need these outside resources to come in. And they do that. They do that wherever they go, and that's fine. I'm with that. But the way you are presenting this to help educate them and even bring them forward to be a part of the inclusive process with the parish, that's 5-star, because I think that's what's needed. And I'm glad that you're partnering with Fletcher. Fletcher and I are doing some other things together too. I think that's pretty good. They're doing it in the Canterville community and some other stuff as far as getting some people into the university or the college. So it's going to be an outstanding, venue here dealing with that situation. But I want to commend you on this, and I'm glad that you did come explain to the council, and hopefully that we can. I told her I want to like to have that on, our TV station and our website and stuff, so we can get the information out to the public and do anything we can to make sure the public, understand and be educated toward this. So, thank you. Kudos to you for that, and I applaud you for that. Thanks a lot.
It's a little different because normally the lessons are trying to teach the non-English speakers to speak English, and this is an opportunity for us to start meeting them
right
in their lane.
My tubes?
If you will.
You help me with that? get that information to the TPTV? Okay,
Yeah, we
thank
can
you.
send that.
Appreciate that. Thanks.
Thanks, Mr. Navy. Mr. Dirk Gidry?
Yes, Ms. Gilbert, thank you for bringing that up and having classes at Fletcher. I mean, I own a restaurant, and I know we have the problem when the Spanish people come into the restaurant and they don't speak a word of Spanish, and I don't speak a word of English, and I don't speak a word of Spanish, but you know, what we've been using our translating deal on the telephone, you know, so, and and then we hired a little Mexican girl, so we got that figured out a little bit, but that's a problem that it's a big problem, because they walk into a restaurant, they can't read your menu or anything like that, and I think it's a good thing. Too bad it's on a Monday and Wednesday, because I'd really have loved to go to the class, you know, so, but maybe I could send my daughter, you know, she runs the business a good bit, so maybe I could send her. She could pick it up a little bit faster than I can.
We can explore that and make
So-
sure that we can handle
But
that
thank
through
you
the
for,
contract.
that's a big problem, and it's not just because people that just moved down here because of Hurricane Ida. It's been a growing problem. I mean, I work my business every day at the counters, and I see it's been a problem coming for a long time. A while back, I had a Spanish girl that came to work for me. She couldn't speak a word of English, and in 2 years, after working fluent English, you know what I mean? All I knew was queso, and that was about it, you know. But thank you for bringing that up and trying to get something done with it, because I think our businesses need this, you know, to at least make them feel welcome into our establishments. So thank you for what you're doing.
You're welcome. Thank you. So far, the reception is pretty positive in the business community. Scheduling is a little bit of a challenge for businesses as a whole, and Fletcher had to look at their schedules to be able to.
Thanks, Ms. Gilbert. Ms. Domingue?
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Gilbert. And I work with Matt a lot, and so, you know, I'm very, very appreciative of the work that you guys do, and hopefully we can start utilizing your agency a bit more, and I know we are. And the item actually says discussion relative to services and programs provided through TITA, so I think it's appropriate that I ask you about some of the things you guys are going to be doing downtown as well, because I know that was part of your budget, that you guys were approved some monies to be able to start doing some work downtown, so.
And I'm sorry, I really wish that I could speak to that well, but Matt is really the point person on that.
Okay.
I'm sure I'll be, you know, discussing and in on some of the meetings, but I just don't have that information tonight. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it, and appreciate working with you guys.
We appreciate it.
And I think Ms. Gilbert Wirchall also instrumental on getting a company, I think, that's celebrating its grand opening tomorrow.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. Tomorrow afternoon, we will be celebrating the opening of Alexander Ryan Marine and Safety. This is a company that has moved to our community. It is a Greek company, and the founder and his administrative team are in town currently. They will be manufacturing some of their safety products in Houma, and the Houma Distribution Center is their U.S. and international shipping hub. Lalazas, which is the parent company, has locations around the world. This is a very well-respected company. These are some really professional, detail-oriented gentlemen. We went ahead and recommended they invite their council member, a few people. We didn't want to run into any attendance issues. So, you know, we identified some folks for them to invite to the ribbon cutting. If you'd like to stop by, it's at 2 p.m. tomorrow at 205 East Woodlawn Ranch Road. That is the old hunting facility. They would be delighted to meet. They are Greek. Communication can be a little challenging on occasion, but they are very kind and easy to work with, gracious people. And, you know, this is a project that was working prior to this, but a member of our real estate community brought TITA into it back in May of 2018. It's common knowledge in our circle that projects, recruitment projects, take an average of 18 months to come to fruition. We are now in 2022. it can take a lot longer than 18 months. You know, economic development is a long play game. So, you know, I'm really tickled that they've taken a building that was fallow for 8 years and really done some improvements and are returning it to commerce. So it is a wonderful day that we're celebrating tomorrow. So I know they'd love to meet y'all.
Mr. Harding.
Yes, how you doing? I've actually attended several of your meetings, and one of the meetings I was in, it was a discussion in reference to how well y'all were funded. And believe it or not, prior to you coming here, I went here, and once I went here, because we have an association with you, and then you are representing TITA, and some of the people that I represent and some people I don't represent oftentimes ask me questions in reference to TITA, how they get funding. And I see that you have economic strengths as well as attracting new firms and add to a level of economy and diversity in Terrebonne Parish. Actually, with the Spanish-speaking community, such an influx, both those that are in the working force, those that are looking for the opportunity to provide businesses or some type of form of business within Terrebonne Parish. When you say federal dollars, I know that, you know, we have to understanding on certain guidelines how federal dollars are being used, whether it's, you know, whether it's Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government going through the association with Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government and Fletcher. There are certain guidelines in reference to particular target areas, and I'm sure to avoid any controversy, to be more significant, to go to target areas that are generally not aware. There are some people that speak English and don't know much about TITA. And we want to make sure with the guidelines that are stipulated, anytime you get federal money, that these guidelines are specifically to be used in a certain manner.
Absolutely.
That's one thing, and I just want to make sure that, you know what I mean, I make mention of that for everyone. My grandfather, you know what I mean, not just Spanish speaking, he's half Native American, so that, you know, I can be included that because guess what, I'm part Native American also. So we have to just look at the broad spectrum and understand there are some services. We've heard many times out here that some people that are born in America, okay, and I must say my daughter-in-law is Mexican, so that's no target area. I'm just trying to get everything out there where we can cover everyone.
Well, if the only limitation, if you will, on these dollars, because these dollars are Economic Development Administration dollars. They are not community block development block grant dollars. So the regulations are a bit different. I have worked a similar program under CDBG through TITA. We were audited for that program. There were no findings, negative findings against our organization at all for administration of the paperwork, the outreach, procurement. You know, all of that was audited a few times, frankly. For this program, the target audience is small business. And the only guideline for that we have been able to locate is the federal government's definition, which is the SBA's definition of a small business, which is a business that does not exceed 500 employees. I believe there's also like a $10 million revenue cap, but please don't quote me on that figure. So any business in Terrebonne Parish that hits those two markers, a small business by definition and not over that revenue cap, is eligible for these particular grant services. TITA's daily work to help businesses, whether it's with business plans and incentive programs. I worked with y'all a couple of years ago on a no parking zone for Swire. we do all of those things at no charge daily for the entire business community of Terrebonne Parish. That is determined by legislation. That is our service area. I do know that Lafourche Parish, there are some dollars available for businesses in Lafourche Parish and some of the other surrounding parishes. And South Louisiana Economic Council is running their program. And so I'm sure that, Vic Lafont would welcome any contacts for the Lafourche businesses.
We're presently coming into some money in recovery, and there are a number of areas that we are targeting. And say, for instance, there are a number of people that have pop-up shop, but I prefer these people to actually have shop. Don't pop up here and pop up there. So what I'm trying to do to get as much information I possibly could to get them to start their business. Because in our recovery, we want to actually maintain the diversity that we speak
Absolutely.
of. And with that diversity, we have growth and create jobs. So, I'm actually talking not only just to you and my colleagues, but those people that are listening, and then we have this here. The other thing, when I actually read in here and understand that, we have actually lost a lot of jobs, and we lost some revenue. And this is an opportunity for us to grow and grow evenly. And then as we grow evenly, no one will get left behind. That's my objective. I want this to be a parish-wide thing where opportunities are presented to everyone. And I appreciate what you're doing, Fletcher. I appreciate the other things that you are doing. But I need the people that's out there to actually take part in that, because when they had the loans, a lot of people say, well, how did I get a loan? How can I get a loan? So we have to perhaps be a little more broader with our...
Marketing is a challenge, and I've been working in the marketing zone for this parish for 20 years. We were talking about information flow earlier, y'all were. That is one of the biggest challenges, and it really, at this point, comes from where and how do people receive their information. It used to be, and I've got a journalism background, you could put a notice in the newspaper and everybody would see it. Readership declined. People don't read the newspaper as much as they used to. People get news off of Facebook. We post on social media. We send to council clerk's office our events. We often do put things on the parish technology. Brian Roderick helps us a lot with that. We have the chamber that will send out our information. South Central Industrial Association sends out our information. We try to share it. I have an email list of almost 900 companies and contacts in the parish. Every month I send a newsletter out. I have a 40 to 50% open rate on that newsletter. We have built that where people realize that it is a tool that has information that is relevant to our business community. Now, I'd love to grow that to several thousand. It's just a process. But there's no single location or 2-3 locations that we can put news out that will reach everyone. And so it is a challenge, absolutely. But we try to spread it to the community as much as possible. And I know after the storm, the Small Business Administration had a Spanish-speaking webinar on their services. And having interacted with a handful of Hispanic-owned businesses, and I don't speak Spanish. I really don't. I've got a couple of menu items. I love the food. I think the culture is fascinating. I printed those flyers out and personally visited the businesses I knew to be Hispanic-owned to make sure they knew about the SBA webinar so that they could try to land one of those business recovery loans after the storm. So it's a multi-pronged, and we're always working to try to improve. So I welcome any other suggestions for getting the information out to the whole community.
And if the chairman don't mind, I just probably one or two more points, and I understand that. That's why I attended, because I want to learn more about that, so I can get it out to my constituents.
We appreciate it.
And then the services you're providing is free. And here in this book it says that you have one-on-ones. So that's something that's afforded the opportunity. I think I've had a conversation even with the development, even with downtown, like Mr. Domingue was concerned about. Chris Pulaski and I, we were even concerned about the vacant buildings that were downtown, and perhaps coming up with some circumstances we can attract businesses downtown. And me and Mr. Guidry was talking how to get the traffic off Highway 90 to come in to help out. So those are ideas that we can actually come through TEDA and then actually put it out to the public and actually give them an opportunity with the resources that we have.
Yes.
So finally, the other thing about that, I know y'all meet in the middle of the daytime. Can you tell us when you meet and where?
Terrebonne Economic Development's board meets on the second Tuesday of the month at noon. Our meetings have been held since COVID started, when we stopped meeting online. We've been meeting at the Water Life Center. It's a nice facility where we can space our board members out, and the public that wishes to attend can have a little bit of elbow room as well. It is a public meeting. The notices are posted on our website, on the bulletin boards, and they're published in the newspaper as per state law. And anyone from the public is welcome to attend our meetings.
And I received a phone call from Mr. Dawn. He was unable to come here to actually be with you to learn a few things, and I appreciate my colleagues actually appointing this young gentleman who's energetic and looking forward to helping you guys. And I told him just learn as much as possible, learn from you guys, Matt. So I appreciate the work that you're doing, and in whatever way I can help you to get it out to the communities where we can actually have the development and advancement and the growth that we talk about in our budget that you're actually saying. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Navy?
Just a quick thing. I think Mr. Harding was a little confused about the situation with the business development money versus the community development block grant. Yeah, that's what it is called. The community development block grant is what you're talking about, more the inclusion process. This is targeted just for business development right here.
Right. These are dollars that came to the state of Louisiana from the Economic Development Administration. So they don't have a lot of the earmarks that the CDBG monies have.
Right, correct.
And the state developed their program, which included these technical assistance type programs. And it was approved by the EDA, and then they were given the award to distribute out the funds.
Yeah, and these dollars are targeted just for business now. And you was on point, but at the wrong organization, though. The community development block grant, that's the inclusion process that you're looking for when you're trying to get the other business aspect of it from minorities and all that aspect of it, so they can be a part of the process. But this was just target money for the business perspective, not the CBD, the community development block grant. So that's what I think you was trying to get at when you was asking that question to her. That's why she told you that it's not CDBG. That's a different
right.
And
excuse me.
Go ahead, Mr. Harding.
Yeah, and I was only investigating and let it to be exposed out there, and I appreciate Mr. Navy what he's doing. But yes, I'm actually putting it out there that any way possible, by any means necessary, that those people that don't know whether it's CBG or whatever way it's coming, actually, if I'm wrong and I have the wrong intent, the thing is to get the exposure out there, whether I'm wrong or right, and we all learn together. And that's my point, is the fact that we get the information out there, including for me to learn. So you're right, Mr. Navy, and I appreciate that. But it's still under the same principles of my thought. It's the fact that we have to get it out there for everybody, because I'm hearing Spanish speaking, and and that's where I'm at, So these people and everybody, we have to get the information out there. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm going.
When will you be meeting back with Fletcher?
Fletcher has developed the program, and it launches March 7th.
March 7th, okay.
So we really need to get our registration. We have a handful of people who have registered for the course.
Okay.
I have I have 25, I think it is, seats remaining to be filled. They will be filled on a first come, first served basis. My hope, and for this is something that we saw occur with Louisiana Economic Development and the general contractors class. We pitched and really asked when administration changed several years ago, they asked our organizations, what did we want to see? And we brought up that there was a contractors class helping people to prepare for the general contractor's license. And we wanted to see that return. And I very casually looked at the director of the programming and said, and you know, I know Fletcher, they are very responsive. They would be so very happy to help you to relaunch that program. The program today is a 3-part program that is run annually, if not twice a year. It is Fletcher branded, and it is communicated online, taught virtually across the state. So we've been able to heighten Fletcher's profile a little bit. And my hope, my aspiration for the Spanish program, whether it works or not, remains to be seen, but that it does provide a starting point for people like me who desperately needs to learn Spanish to start learning. And Fletcher can build on that course. You know, this is Spanish 101. Let's do the next more advanced Spanish class and grow a program to help us all communicate a little better.
Well, let me know, because I'm meeting with David Roan's wife on some stuff with Fletcher too, so I just want to make sure that we do get that on time, all right?
Oh, yeah, no, it's launching on the 7th.
Okay.
So
Thank you, appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Navy. Mr. Babin?
Yeah, just, and in regards to what Carly said about not, if you're not getting emails, you know, maybe we need to check, Tammy and them need to check to make sure that all the organizations, like, because I get them from the levy board, from TITA, from all these organizations, when their meetings are coming up. So maybe your name is not on that list, okay? And that's just probably inadvertently left off if it is. But I mean, we do get information, because I've made one. In fact, the last one I made, y'all were concerned about money, and the parish moved the money back in, okay? So in any event, I would just like for us to make sure that levy board, waterworks, all of the things, we get emails to know when those meetings are coming up, whether we can make them or not. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Babin. Mr. Harding?
Yes, I do get the emails, but I can't make every meeting. Just like the downtown committee that we actually have, you know, man, we need to reassess the downtown committee when we go to that diversity and we deal and we go into the progress and these fundings are going out there. You know, I mean, I look at who's on that particular thing. So then I want to get the information out. So I haven't been to a levy board, but we do get it, and I have been to the meetings, and that's what we're trying to do. It's not just me; it's get it out there for everyone else, because you know, I mean, I don't have a business, and I'm trying to get it to the people that have a business or have the desire to a business, and that's where I am. You know, what I mean, and really, to be honest, you can look at my face. I'm trying to promote every area for the people to actually gain access to an opportunity through TITA and every other phase the Terrebonne Parish actually have. I am committed, personally committed, that we have a level playing field, point blank, period. And we provide services and opportunities to everyone, point blank, period. That there's no misunderstanding about what I'm saying right now. And there shouldn't be no more discussion after that, point blank, period. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harding. Ms. Catherine, thank you so much for coming. You know, as a former TITA board member and officer of TITA, I know how important TITA is, and I don't know if people really realize that, you know, as a parish, we have to have a salesperson out there. If a business doesn't have a sales force out there selling their business, they can't bring in new business. And that's what TITA is the sales force of Terrebonne Parish. And I appreciate what you guys doing. I think this Greek facility is a big win for you guys. And I think the second piece of what TITA does, which is business retention, keeping businesses here locally to stay and helping them to stay. And I know we've had several wins there. And then the final piece, training local businesses to help them be more successful. That three-tier thing
And
that you guys do.
Let's not forget the startups.
The startups I do as the sales piece of
okay.
it, getting new businesses to start up. And
There's also business recruitment from exterior, bringing new money in. So that's what I think of sales, because then we're selling Terrebonne Parish to the rest of the world.
exactly.
My
But
thoughts
we
are slightly
appreciate
different.
what you do, Mr. Michaud.
Yeah, and for our sales force to be effective, we need to be sure they're funded properly. So I hope we can do a better job on that in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Catherine.
Thank you.
Moving on, I know under public, Ms. Billy Babin Richard of Keep Terrebonne Beautiful wished to address the council relative to support of the Bayou Grand Caillou cleanup event, but Ms. Domingue, I know, has worked with Ms. Babin Richard on this, and I think they settled that, and so she is not here today and wish to pull this, and so we definitely support the Keep Terrebonne Beautiful event, and we definitely need to clean up litter. Seeing no speaker cards, moving on to committee reports. Budget and Finance Committee, Mr. Carl Harding. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you happen to be next. Go ahead, Mr. Harding.
Yes, I make a motion that the council accept the Budget and Finance Committee, the minutes from Budget and Finance Committee meeting held February 21st, 2022, and I have one public hearing to that. It's an introduction of the ordinance declaring two items from Terrebonne, from Homer Fire Department, a 2006 Thomas school bus, unit number 506, having the value of $12,000, and a 1995 Hurricane ladder truck, unit number 401, having the value of $20,000 as surplus, and authorizing said items to be disposed by any legal approved method, and calling for a public hearing on March 9th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m.
We have a motion by Mr. Harding, seconded by Mr. Amity. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item B, Public Policy, Procedure, and Legal Committee meeting. Ms. Domingue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Policy, Procedure, and Legal Committee held on February 21st, 2022, and I have one public hearing. An ordinance to dedicate and accept the maintenance operation of the servitudes for Emerson Lakes Phase 2 and call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, March 9th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Domingue, seconded by Mr. Amity. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Notices of meetings. There's a motion to approve the council to attend the 2022 Police Jury Association of Louisiana Convention to be held on March 9th through March 11th, 2022 at the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles, Louisiana as needed. Moved by Mr. Dirk Guidry, seconded by Mr. Danny Babin. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 5, appointments to various boards, committees, and commissions. Rec District 8 Board, 1 expiring term on February 24th, 2022. Mr. John Campbell expresses his interest in being reappointed. Hold on, Mr. Harding. Go ahead.
Motion to open, closing the appointments of John Campbell.
We have a motion by Mr. Harding. Do we have a second? Second. Seconded by Mr. Guidry. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Vacancies to various boards, committees, and commissions. We have several openings that currently exist. The Veterans Memorial District has 1 unexpired term due to a resignation representing the parish president south of the Intercoastal, and 1 expired term representing the Vietnam Veterans of America. Rec District 1 Board has a vacancy due to a resignation. Rec District 3A Board has 1 expired term and 1 unexpired term due to resignation. Rec District number 6 Board has 1 expired term. Rec District 7 has 1 expired term. The Rec District 8 position was just filled. The Rec District 11 Board has 1 vacancy due to a resignation. The Bayou Blue Fire Protection District Board has 1 expired term. Bayou Cane Fire Protection District Board has 1 expired term. Coteau Fire Protection District Board has 1 expired term and 1 unexpired term due to resignation. Fire Protection District number 7 Board has an expired term. Number 8 Board has an expired term, and Fire District number 10 Board has 1 expired term. The Terrebonne Parish Tree Board has 2 expiring terms on February 23rd, 2022, and 1 vacancy due to resignation. Terrebonne Arc has 1 unexpired term due to resignation. Homo Board of Zoning Adjustments has 1 vacancy due to a resignation. The vacant position is for an alternate member. And the Children and Youth Services Board has 1 vacancy representing the Bayou Area Children's Foundation due to a resignation. South Central Human Services Authority has 1 unexpired term due to a resignation. Announcements. Does the council members have any announcements? Mr. Harding?
Point of order. You missed an agenda item, sir.
You were talking about the parish president? The parish president's not here. Mike, do you want to say anything for the parish president?
No, sir.
All right, then go ahead, Mr. Harding.
Yes, I want to apologize for the inconvenience in the Narcan Street and Henderson Street area. We have some delays that we were talking about, and we're going to get a report back. Pardon the inconvenience, but it is progress in that particular area. So we'll be getting back with you perhaps by next council meeting with a report of the circumstances involved in that area. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Harding. Seeing no other lights, monthly engineering reports. As per Mr. John Amity, seconded Mr. Dirk Guidry. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion adjourned by Mr. John Amity, seconded by Ms. Domingue. All in favor all in favor say aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thanks, guys.